What in the world does this man know? And how does it relate to everything that's unfolding right now? As of course, that is the question on everyone's mind right now, especially after the latest investigative journalism by The Blaze that has gripped online internet discourse this entire weekend. As of course, the implications of it are vast, are severe, and huge, and could potentially even topple the biggest nefarious, criminal, sinister intelligence organizations in the world. I'm not joking. I'm not understating that. As of course, we now have new information about the alleged pipe bomber of J6. Now, if you remember this story, it is a significant one. It is a big one. As right now, a lot of people are kind of scratching their heads being like, how in the world is this person not caught? There was J6ers that were caught because of pictures of their ears, okay? All right? People who had the same shoes were getting visits down here in Miami. My friends were getting visits from the FBI because they had the same shoes. They, of course, weren't the same person. But the FBI, that, of course, investigates everything, is telling us, the DOJ, along with all the intel agencies, along with all the weird circumstantial evidence, yeah, right, as now we have really incredible stuff presented to us by Steve Baker and The Blaze that highlight levels of sinisterness, a level of criminality that all is finally coming out as the next final steps that will be made here will be big, will be vast, and will either highlight how this government is complicit or this government is actually fighting for the people. What will be the answer? We're going to be telling you our type of theory about this in this particular broadcast. If you appreciate these conversations, subscribe, click the notification button, as we greatly appreciate all the time that you spend with us. Now, we appreciate all the people subscribing here. Now, again, lots of really weird things about this official kind of narrative, about this official person getting away, traversing, going onto multiple forms of public transportation all around Washington, D.C., which is a major surveillance grid showing hand signs to police vehicles having the same type of pipe bombs that the FBI usually uses for training purposes, just conveniently outside DNC headquarters where Kamala Harris was. What was this? As of course, Kyle Seraphin has been leading the charge when it comes to talking about this specific issue, as now he talks about this is the POV of MAGA journalists trying to debunk Steve Baker and The Blaze instead of trying to substantiate a complete government cover-up of horrific government weaponization. And he's showing crabs pulling down other crabs in a basket. As of course, the latest information that came out, and we covered this Friday, by the way. For some reason, when we covered this Friday, the video just didn't do well. I'm like, why isn't this video doing well when the revelations here are so big, are so huge, as a forensic software has identified the walking patterns of what many people believe to be this person who is a U.S. Capitol police officer who has been identified as Shawnee Ray Kirkhoff, who allegedly the software matched the same type of walking patterns, the same type of body, the same type of behaviors, as well as other kind of forensic analysis. Now, again, this information coming forward should lead to more investigation. It should lead to the FBI being like, okay, we're investigating this right away. We've apprehended this potential suspect, and now we're going to interview them, right? So far, we're not hearing nothing. Where's Kash Patel? Allegedly, he's in China. What are you doing in China? This is the biggest story. Where's Don Bongino? Where's Pam Bondi? Maybe she got lost in her Bermuda Triangle desk. As we're also hearing that this person allegedly also took a job at the CIA right afterwards. All of this released by Steve Baker. People were saying it's wild how the FBI arrested and perp walked this man with no visible downside. As of course, this guy, Steve Baker, was reporting on J6, and he was there as a reporter. He was documenting everything. And he was arrested for, quote, nonviolent misdemeanor charges, right? And he was prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, viciously treated like a terrorist, even though he was there as a journalist. He had to surrender himself into jail, by the way. That's how crazy, that's how insane this entire story is. As Alex Jones has some very interesting comments about this, but the implications are pretty vast. They're pretty clear here. Listen, the FBI needs to be on top of this, right? If this, what looks like almost certainly a CIA job, right? An intel agency job, as there's a lot of other circumstantial proof and evidence here that we're going to be getting into in a little bit. That's it. They're going to take her out, right? The people who gave her the orders, the top layer of the conspiracy, and this is why I came out and I was like, I don't care if you got to grant her immunity. Listen, this is a foot soldier of a larger, bigger operation. This is not just a random person that just decided, I'm going to mess with people today. No. Right? If that was the case, they would have caught her and made her an example and be like, what are you doing? What's going on here? She clearly was following instructions. Who was given the instructions? We need to know now. This person needs to be apprehended and put in witness protection now. Listen here, lady. Jail for the rest of your life, or tell us who did this. That's the gambit, right? And unless the FBI acts quickly and decisively, which all indicators are showing they are not, Benny Johnson released a video being FBI response. I haven't seen any response in the making of this video. There's no response. The fact that that is highlighting how there's something bigger going on here. And there might be a cover-up of this by this administration, which is crazy since this administration was the biggest targets and victims of this clear inside job. Which makes you wonder, who's really in charge here? Who's really calling the shots here? As Alex Jones had this to say, which I thought was very interesting.
This broke Thursday on Glenn Beck's show with 30 million viewers and listeners, conservatively. And has this woman come out and said it's not her? And that individual's been under full surveillance, as well as their communications. And the word is they've been moved to a CIA safe house. Wonder how long that poor Patsy's going to be alive.
Not long. You follow the MO of all these operations and how they do it and how they can. Oh. They just took themselves out. Oh. You know, they decided to go in that tree. They got that rope, and then they took those different pills, and then they shot themselves a number of times. They did it. They did it to themselves. What? Are you kidding me?
Maybe there'll be a note that she fled to Europe or something, you know. Oh, where'd she? Oh, you won't see her no more. She's off on vacation. Like in The Running Man. Whitman, Price, and Haddad are in Hawaii enjoying themselves. Their debt to society paid in full. And they find their skeletons hung up in a locker. So it's going down, down, down. It's going down. Because the levee has broken. And so what's the left's only hope? What's the globalist only hope? Well, activate the skeleton of the neocons.
Well, listen. What happens next is going to be key to understanding how government really works. Is this the administration that will actually be working to root out the evil people terrorizing, using mass forms of criminal actions against us and the American people? Will they actually be finally, for the first time in their lives, held accountable? Or will they gobble up and corrupt all of the people within government right now that promise to stop it? That's the question that's being asked right now. As of course, there's a third scenario here, because you got one scenario, second scenario, right? First scenario is this government will actually do something about this. Press 1 if you think that's going to happen in the chat. Second scenario is this government will be corrupted by the corrupted people and not do anything about it and protect the terrorizers of our society. Third is allegedly the government was already working on this. And this is the other aspect of this. And allegedly, they're going to be, of course, they were just going to release it anyway, and they're working on it. That's the third scenario. Which one in the chat room do you think is the most possible here? Listen, there's a lot of other conspiracy stuff related to this person. We're going to get into that in a little bit. There's another Alex Jones clip that I wanted to play with you here, but before getting into that, just really quickly, we wanted to tell you about LukeUnfiltered.com. One of the things that you get when you sign up is our Change Media University Masterclass. It's from many years ago, but it still teaches you the basics of how to be an online internet personality, how to have a YouTube channel. One of our students, this is, by the way, one of our students that decided one day, I got a nice press credentials. Luke taught me how to get a press credential. Luke taught me how to Jedi mind trick people. Luke taught me how to be confident. And then this guy just decided, he was like, I'll just walk into the Super Bowl without a ticket. And he walked through, what was it, like 10, 15, 20 layers of security confidently. And then walked up to the to the MVP when he was giving a speech. And
investigate 9/11. 9/11 was perpetrated by people within our own government.
Yep. Listen, that's the type of stuff. That's the type of information you get on LukeUnfiltered.com. You want to see the course? You can. A lot of people are like, "Oh no, it's so hard. It's so difficult." Well, actually, people don't understand just how crazy and wild and insane the world is, and how many things are possible. Now, listen, LukeUnfiltered.com, one of the many perks, one of these master classes. And again, it's old, but it's still fun to look at, and it's interesting to look at. So I would check it out, definitely as a kind of a refresher if you're interested. And right now, everyone's like, okay, I guess I'll do social media. Well, we have a lot of tips and tricks, old school tips and tricks, as well as just common sense lessons about getting your information out there, available a part of this masterclass. Go check it out. It's definitely something that is worth doing, whether or not you're even looking to be an influencer or not. I think it's important just to be able to express yourself and be able to accomplish things in life. LukeUnfiltered.com, 20 cents a day, $8 a month. It's cheap, quick, and easy. Sign up right now. All right, let's get back to this, because this is such an important story, as we have people posting online saying, I don't know who this person is or their connection to J6 fully, but fresh out of college, this person is popping up in pictures with powerful people all over the internet. They won't be able to suppress it long. Where did the CIA recruit her, and why did they, quote, want her? As a lot of people are saying that there are also a lot of connections to her, allegedly being one of the first officers to use less lethal munitions and to shoot people in the face with them, which angered the crowd at J6 and got them riled up and angry. And there's like vicious photos of people with holes in their face where you could see their teeth as people were being shot with these less lethal munitions, as it looks like this is the same person that Steve Baker identified that was on one of the top pavilions shooting down people in the head, which is wild. As we have someone alleging, we have Guff Refit saying, got shot by alleged pipe bomber. Alleged pipe bomber testified against me at trial. Alleged pipe bomber speaks at sentencings and calls me a terrorist, a domestic terrorist. You can't make this ish up. It's just too rich. Wait, shouldn't I be getting rich? Question mark here. As of course, the lectern guy came out and says, I was charged and in jail within 48 hours of J6. Over 1,600 more arrests came after. It's been 5 years since the pipe bomb story came out. It only makes sense that anyone not named or prosecuted was or is an asset on that day or now. Jack Posobiec pointed out 2024, and we pointed this out too. As soon as the pipe bomb story came out, we were like, if they don't catch this person, it's an inside job. We were telling you, it's an inside job. Like, there's no way. There's no way. And you can see me on Timcast, you can see me on this channel, being like, this is inside job. As Jack Posobiec pointed out, saying, hey, these pipe bombs look very identical to the ones that the FBI uses in trainings, by the way. Huh. Interesting. As a lot of people who were prosecuted for J6 are coming out and saying, I was pardoned as a J6er who did 4 years in prison, many in solitary confinement in the D.C. jail. I'm calling for her arrest today. As Thomas Massie, who, by the way, has huge, big money donors going up against him, trying to destroy his political career and primary him. I think they're trying to spend $20 million. Saying, quote, when will the FBI, CIA, Capitol Police address this scandal? Today would be good, yeah. Why aren't we hearing about this? Thomas Massie. America is waking up today to learn that the Capitol Police turned CIA orchestrated the pipe bombings on January 6th, and the FBI has covered it up for over 4 years. I questioned FBI Director Ray, ATF Director Dettelbash, and FBI Director Asset D'Antonio over oath. All played dumb. And again, shouts out to Steve Baker, man. I mean, important, incredible work here. As Kyle Seraphin has his predictions for what he thinks is going to be happening here next. But so far, the silence is deafening. Right? And seeing how powerful and seeing how overwhelmingly huge this conspiracy is, and just the many layers to it, it's not looking good for us getting any kind of legitimate justice here. I see such predictions. Kash will try to spin and reveal alleged pipe bombers by either taking credit or introducing some alternative facts. Director Patel was on the ground in China when the story broke and cannot claim credit. In January 2021, my team was assigned to watch the door on the right. Steve Baker and team's alleged suspects lived behind the door on the left, and he posts a photo here of the surveillance target and the alleged J6 pipe bomber's home. And this is Kyle Seraphin, a member of the FBI. So he's talking about how his team was literally watching the door of the alleged suspect, right? That's crazy. We were 15 feet from the right person 5 years ago, and coincidentally, were pulled into the office after I asked if we could do a knock and talk. No amount of spin and Marshall Yates, Patriot Peanut, Wilson Penn, FBI Bongino, or Patel himself should convince you that the FBI had this case under control. But you can 100% set your watch by it that they will weigh in after Patel lands in the D.C. area from his trip to China. The astronomical ridiculousness odds that a computer would return a 94% gait analyst match comparing a known soccer player at Temple UV on a duty uniformed USCP officer verified by name, and the unknown suspect who allegedly dropped pipe bombs on J. 5th incorrectly is hard to swallow. Then consider this person that matched the computer analysis also lived under the same roof as a person of interest that the FBI had ID'd within a week of the incident and pulled surveillance assets off. Why did they pull the surveillance assets off? Here. Now consider a team of journalists without government funding, database, subpoena power, and $11 billion law enforcement mission to find the terrorist actor that they called the worst day since 9/11. Yeah. Again, the failures here, just absolutely tremendous here. Now, the question remains, why is the FBI sitting on this? As some people are saying, when Dan Bongino in July was talking about how he was shocked to his core about the recent FBI corruption, was he talking about this? If he was, what's taken them so long to actually hold these people responsible here? As, of course, Glenn Beck has been speaking about this. Alex Jones had another kind of reaction to this.
How long have you been working on this story?
I've been pulling the threads on this for exactly 4 years.
If anybody ever wondered why they made such a big deal out of arresting Steve, this is why.
I was so shocked by what I saw, I immediately took it to a source in one of the most important, highest level investigative federal agencies in the country. And I said, you have to see this. After they looked at it for about 2 hours, the response that I got back was, "Holy F, she's one of us."
Yep. And that's the reality that we're all living with right now. But how long did the FBI know? Now, there's some people coming out and saying they knew for 10 months. If they know for 10 months, is this an ongoing investigation that they actually will be holding them accountable? Or are they just kind of holding it, dangling it in their heads for political purposes? That's bad, right? It's like, okay, we need a political victory. Let's take out the pipe bomber now. All right, now we'll go hold them. No, you don't do that, especially with such a major conspiracy that involves so many sinister, horrible people that are willing to comprehend and carry out disgusting terrorist actions against the American people. Kyle Serafin, some journalists and retired FBI types put a lot of effort and analysis into debunking Stephen Baker's and Hand Blaze story this weekend. I encourage them to lean into this plan, trust your instincts, and run cover for the FBI and our government. Yeah. Again, the surveillance team being there. Cal said, what? Now, Pelosi also stepped down pretty quickly as people are saying maybe she was the one calling the shots here, as, again, the questions keep mounting. This is a huge story and a story that deserves all of our attention. If you agree, share this video. Which theory do you think is true? 1, 2, or 3? Government complicit? Government cover-up? Government working on it? Which one? Thank you so much for signing up to lookunfiltered.com. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys doing that. This is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more. All here exclusively on youtube.com/weare.